The mounted memorial, Canberra, is on ANZAC Parade, the principal ceremonial and Memorial Avenue in Canberra, the national capital city of Australia. Design. The memorial shows Australian Army and New Zealand Army horse riders in action. They are wearing the typical uniform of World War I, including the slouch hat and lemon squeeze of that are iconic of the Diggers of Australia and New Zealand respectively. The horse of the New Zealander on the right has been injured, a shot, and the rider is falling to the ground. The rider on the left is supporting his mate. Plaques and history. A plaque at the front of the memorial records as follows: this statue is a copy of one originally forming part of the memorial, which was erected at Port Said and unveiled on the 23rd of November 1932 by the RT. Hon. William Morris Hughes, K.C. MP. The original memorial bore the inscription, erected by the comrades and the governments of Australia and New Zealand in memory of the members of the Australian Light Horse, the New Zealand Mounted Rifles, the Imperial Camel Corps, and the Australian Flying Corps who lost their lives in Egypt, Palestine and Syria 1916 to 1919. The statue itself was irreparably damaged during the Suez Crisis in 1956. The remnants were brought to Australia and a replica was constructed. Two castings in bronze were made, the first of which was erected on the original masonry base at Albany, Western Australia in 1964. Unveiled by the RT. Hon. J.G. Gorton MP, Prime Minister of Australia, on the 19th of April 1968. A second plaque nearby records. This plaque records the service in the Australian Imperial Force of General Sir Henry George Chauvel, G.C., M.G., K.C.B., Australian cavalry leader of 1914 to 1918, who commanded the 1st Light Horse Brigade and the 1st Australian Division on Gallipoli in 1915, then successively commanded the ANZAC Mounted Division, the Desert Column and a Desert Mounted Corps in operations in Egypt, Palestine and Syria 1916 to 1918. It was interesting to note that on ANZAC Day 2005, as on previous similar commemorations, mounted members of the Australian Army commemoration teams were at the memorial, as was obvious from copious amounts of horse droppings around the memorial. Some can be seen in the photograph. Commemorations of the Battle of Beersheba. Commemorations typically occur at the memorial in Canberra every year on the 31st of October, with bigger gatherings on the 5-year dates.